That night, my basement felt like a bunker against the real world. Just me, Kevin, David, and Kieran bathed in the blue glow of the Xbox, Dorito dust coating our fingers as we screamed over Call of Duty. My parents were 3 floors up, completely oblivious. Past 1 a.m., we were idiots messing with my dad's rowing machine when it happened. 3 sharp, rhythmic knocks on the storm door. Dead silence. Nobody knocks on a basement door at 2 a.m. My blood turned to ice water. Before I could slap a hand over his mouth, Kieran yelled, "Who's there?" like a moronic horror movie victim. I wanted to strangle him. That door has no windows. Whoever was out there couldn't have known we were down there. Until Kieran announced it. Then came the voice, muffled but terrifyingly cheerful, like a buddy dropping by unannounced. "Come around to the back door." Pitch. Absolutely real. My friends thought it was thrilling, some random adventure. I felt pure dread coiling in my gut. They pressured me until I caved, creeping upstairs with my heart hammering against my ribs. The back door's narrow window pane showed a shadow under the porch light. I inched closer, my breath fogging the glass, and there he was. Samuel Robinson III. Pale face, hollow eyes, that same blank stare from the yearbook photo. Recognition hit me like a physical blow. My friends moved to open the door. Why are people so stupid? But I blocked them, whispering frantically about the yearbook. Sam saw us through the glass. Saw me. And he smiled. Not a friendly smile. A predator's smile. He motioned sideways, beckoning me toward the kitchen window like we were co-conspirators. I cracked it open maybe half an inch, the cold night air biting my face. My friends hovered behind me, finally sensing the wrongness. "What do you want?" Choked out. "I know you from school." His voice slithered through the gap. "Oh, you got my message." He introduced himself like we were old pals. "I've always watched you. We could have been good friends." I agreed weakly, desperate to appease him. "Zero chance." My skin crawled. "How do you know where I live?" Silence. Heavy, suffocating silence. Then David, always the hothead, snapped. "Piss off, you creepy stalker." Sam's smile vanished. His head tilted, bird-like, confused. Then his face melted into pure, twisted hatred. He exploded, screaming about how my friends should die, how my ex hated me, spewing secrets he had no right knowing. His fingers scrabbled at the window, nails clawing the frame as he tried to force it open. I slammed it down, fumbling the lock as he snarled like a rabid animal, pounding the glass until it shuddered. The noise finally ripped my parents from sleep. They thundered downstairs as Sam vanished into the darkness. My dad chased him outside in nothing but his boxers, but he'd disappeared. No police call that night, just uneasy promises to handle it with the school. The truth they gave us the next morning still chills me. Sam had been expelled weeks before yearbooks were distributed. He'd snuck back into that crowded school just to find my book, just to write those 7 words. The school launched some half-hearted search, but Samuel Robinson III didn't exist in their records anymore. No address, no parents, a ghost. The running theory. A disturbed kid fixated on me. But that doesn't explain how he found my house, how he knew about my ex, how he watched. For weeks, my parents triple-checked the locks. I jumped at every shadow near the storm door. Even now, years later, walking into that basement feels like stepping back into that moment. The knock, the cheerful voice, his face at the glass. Some doors, once open, never really close. The signature's still there in my yearbook, of course. Proof. Hags. I'll be seeing you again. Sometimes lying awake at night, I wonder if it was a threat or a promise. You know that friend every group has. The loose cannon. For us, that was Garrett. Picture a walking steroid rage meme, gym-obsessed, constantly bragging about fights he'd started, the human equivalent of a lit firecracker. Graduation night should have been pure celebration. Late May 2019, finals finally over. 1,000 seniors packed around the campus clock tower, cheap beer and sticky-floored euphoria hanging thick in the warm air. Me, CTRN, and obviously Garrett. 6 idiots soaked in that bittersweet relief of surviving a brutal university. We lived off campus, which meant the walk home took us through dim city streets where the shadows moved. Homeless folks usually kept to their own worlds, lost in whatever demons they chased. But that night the shadows pushed back. He came out of nowhere near 3rd and Maple, a tweaker wiry and wild-eyed, planting himself in the crosswalk like some deranged bridge troll. "Cross my bridge. Pay the toll," he'd screamed, spit flying. We instinctively veered wide, laughter nervous but still bubbling, just drunk kids avoiding chaos. Garrett stopped dead. "Get the fuck out the road," he roared, chest puffed out. The tweaker's eyes snapped onto him, animal sharp. He took 3 jerky steps forward, fists clenched. That's when we grabbed Garrett, pulling him back, voices overlapping. "Dude, not worth it. Just walk." The tweaker spat on the pavement, screaming after us. "Big mistake. Gonna call a niche." We kept moving, shoving Garrett between us, the euphoria suddenly thin and brittle. 5 minutes later, David glanced back. "Shit. He's following." Sure enough, 30 yards back, the tweaker shuffled in that same jerky rhythm, eyes locked on Garrett. When he saw us looking, the screaming started again. Guttural, nonsensical threats about niches and consequences. Drunk and stupid, we yelled back. "Lost your bridge. Call your niche then." Garrett's grin was feral, fueled by cheap beer and cheaper bravado. Every heckle felt like poking a caged animal with a stick. The tweaker didn't flinch. His screams just got louder, more frantic, echoing off the brick buildings. 1 block from our rented house, the reality hit me like cold water. "We can't lead him home," I hissed, voice tight. The others nodded, the fun officially gone. Before we could strategize, Garrett lunged. "Enough," he snarled and charged. Full sprint, a linebacker bearing down. The tweaker shrieked, pure terror this time, and bolted down a dark alley. Garrett skidded to a stop, laughing that harsh, grating laugh, turning back to us like a conquering hero. "See, scared him off." We jogged the last stretch to the house, slamming the door behind us, locking it, leaning against it, hearts pounding. More from Garrett's stupidity than the tweaker, we told ourselves. The next few hours dissolved into drunken chaos I barely remember. Loud music, spilled drinks, the frantic energy of impending adulthood and escape. Sometime deep in the night, stumbling towards the front door for my greasy DoorDash salvation, I saw it. The side gate, wide open. That gate never stayed open. We used a frayed piece of twine, knotted tight, to keep it shut against the wind. Now it gaped like a broken jaw, the twine lying snapped in the damp grass. Ice flooded my veins. Tweaker. The connection sparked in my booze-fogged brain. But drunk logic is a treacherous thing. Instead of yelling for my friends, instead of barricading myself inside, I did the monumentally stupid thing. I put the DoorDash bag on the porch, its smell suddenly nauseating, and stepped towards the dark maw of the backyard. Just check. Be quick. The backyard was a pit of shadows, the high fence blocking the weak streetlight. I took 2 steps in, gravel crunching under my sneakers. Silence. Too silent. The hairs on my neck stood up. I turned to leave thwip. The rope hit my throat like a striking snake. Coarse, frayed hemp biting into my skin. Hands, impossibly strong, reeking of sweat and dirt, yanked backwards. My breath exploded out in a strangled gurk. No scream possible, just raw animal panic. I clawed at the rope, felt splinters drive under my nails. Stars burst behind my eyes. My knees buckled. This is it, my brain screamed. Garrett's fucking bravado got me killed. Pure survival instinct took over. I threw my weight backwards, legs pistoning wildly. My heel connected with something solid. A grunt of pain. The grip loosened just enough. We crashed to the ground hard. I sucked in a desperate, burning gasp of air, rolling sideways. He was on me instantly, not with the rope now, but with hands. Fingernails, ragged, filthy, raked down my left cheek. White-hot pain. Warm blood welled instantly, dripping onto my shirt. I smelled his breath, sour, metallic like pennies and rot. "Mistake," he hissed, spit hitting my face. I bucked, screamed, "Fuck OFF," with every shred of air I had, and shoved him sideways with a strength born of sheer terror. He stumbled, scrambled backwards into the deeper shadows by the fence. For a second, our eyes met in the gloom. His weren't wild anymore. They were flat. Me. Calculating. Then he vanished into the alley darkness. The aftermath was a blur of blinding pain and cold dread. Garrett found me first, swaying in the kitchen doorway, blood painting half my face, hands trembling uncontrollably. His drunken arrogance evaporated, replaced by raw, ashen-faced shock. Oh God, man. The ER was a haze of harsh lights and antiseptic sting. The cuts weren't deep, the doctor said. But the potential, that's what lingered. Tetanus shot, rabies prophylaxis, a brutal course of antibiotics for whatever bacteria festered under those nails. The police. Useless. A bored officer took notes, eyed my drunken state skeptically. Probably just some crazed addict. You boys antagonize him. Garrett flinched. They never found the tweaker. The worst part wasn't the stitches, the lingering fear of infection, or even the phantom sensation of that rope. It was the graduation photos. Proud smiles in cap and gown, and 3 angry red lines slashed across my cheek like a permanent brand of that night. Garrett, drowning in guilt, insisted on taking me to some fancy steakhouse the next week. I'm so sorry, man. I'm such a fuck-up. I didn't blame him, not really. The system failed that tweaker long before he failed us. But the lesson etched itself deeper than those scratches. Never poke something that has nothing left to lose. The darkness doesn't fight fair. And sometimes the real troll isn't under the bridge. He's the one who thinks charging at shadows makes him brave. Garrett still lifts weights, still talks a big game. But I see it now. The flicker in his eyes when a stranger yells on the street. He remembers the rope. He remembers the blood. He remembers the cost of being the troll slayer in a world full of real, desperate monsters. Middle school's a special kind of purgatory, isn't it? That awkward limbo where everything feels too big and too small all at once. And in that swamp of hormones and insecurity, there was Sven. Picture him, perpetually drowning in a burgundy hoodie 2 sizes too big, cargo shorts hanging off bony knees, haunting the back corner of every classroom like a silent ghost. 7th grade, Mr. Henderson's homeroom. Sven didn't do social. Kids tried sometimes, inviting him to kickball, offering a seat at lunch. But he'd just stare through you with these flat, distant eyes. His voice, when forced out for roll call or a reluctant answer, was this unnerving deep rumble that felt wrong coming from a scrawny 12-year-old. Weirdness clung to him. Tyler swore he saw him slicing worms near the swings with a pocket knife during recess once, earning Sven a week of detention. But mostly, he just stood. Every single recess without fail, he'd plant himself by that chain-link fence bordering the thick woods behind our school. Not pacing, not kicking stones, just standing, staring into the trees. Some kids whispered he talked to someone or something on the other side. I never saw it myself, but the image stuck. Sven, a small, dark shape against the metal diamonds, murmuring secrets to the shadows. The last day of school was pure, glorious chaos. A massive building, hundreds of kids per grade, all bouncing off the walls with summer fever. Tradition dictated we invade random classrooms, kids ditching their assigned rooms to pile into others, giggling and jostling, teachers playing along with weary smiles. I was a rule follower back then, the kid who actually did the end-of-year reflection worksheets. So while my friends bolted for their adventure in Mr. Carter's science lab, rumored to have dissected frogs that morning, I stayed put. Miss Bell's English class. And Sven was there too, stuck in his usual back corner exile. But that day he was different. His foot tapped under the desk. A frantic, jittery rhythm like a trapped bird's heartbeat. Tap 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 tap. Unrelenting. His eyes weren't distant. They were sharp, darting, scanning the room constantly. Not at me, I don't think, but tracking. Hunting. Put my teeth on edge. The room felt heavier somehow. more crowded than just the usual invaders. There were faces I knew I'd never seen before. Older kids maybe. Harder faces. 2 guys near the windows with hoods pulled low. Another girl with a backpack bulging weirdly at her feet. My rule-follower brain catalogued it. Unfamiliar. But the chaos swallowed the thought. Miss Bell, usually unflappable, seemed frayed. Her smile was too tight. She gave us some pointless worksheet about summer goals. Told us to get into groups. The noise level spiked. Kids laughing, chairs scraping. That's when Miss Bell froze. The classroom phone rang, that shrill, old-fashioned bell cutting through the din. She picked it up, her back stiffening as she listened. Didn't say a word. Just hung up, walked straight to the door and opened it. Mrs. Davies, the teacher next door, stood there. They didn't step into the hall. They huddled right there, inches inside the doorway, whispering. Miss Bell's hand went to her throat. Mrs. Davies' eyes flickered towards the back of the room, towards the hooded guys, the girl with the bag. Miss Bell nodded once, sharp and scared. That wordless exchange lasted maybe 30 seconds, but it flooded the room with ice water. Chaos dimmed. Kids felt it. The air got thick. They moved fast. Miss Bell and Mrs. Davies split up, weaving through the clusters of desks. They didn't address the class. Didn't raise their voices. They knelt beside the hooded guys first, whispering urgently. Then the girl with the bag. Their words were swallowed by the room's noise, but I saw the reactions. The guys stiffened, the girl's eyes went wide, panicked. Without a sound, without looking back, they stood up, all 3 of them, and followed the teachers out into the hallway. The door clicked shut behind them. The class noise surged back, oblivious. But not me. And not Sven. His tapping foot stopped dead. He was staring at the closed door, his face utterly blank. Me. Miss Bell came back alone a minute later. She didn't meet anyone's eyes. Just sat at her desk, picked up a pen, and started shuffling papers with trembling hands. Pretending. Badly. The silence stretched, taut as a wire. Then the fire alarm shattered it. Not the usual drill groan. This was a full, ear-splitting, brain-rattling "eh." And Miss Bell, she didn't jump. Didn't react like it was a surprise. She just stood up, eerily calm, and said, "Line up quietly. Single file. Head to the field." No urgency. Just cold, practiced efficiency. We shuffled out, joining the river of kids flowing towards the back field. The usual last-day giddiness was gone, replaced by a confused murmur. We grouped by homeroom on the sun-baked grass. I scanned the familiar faces, the rule followers, the quiet kids, Sven standing slightly apart, staring back at the building. Something made me turn too. Maybe his stillness. Maybe the memory of those unfamiliar faces. I looked up at our classroom windows. 2nd floor. Empty squares of glass reflecting the too bright sky. Then a movement. Shadow. Flitting past the window of our empty classroom. Fast. Too fast. Too tall. Not a teacher. Not a janitor. Cold fist closed around my heart. The building's supposed to be empty. Before I could point, before I could whisper it to anyone, the sirens started. Not one. Chorus. Growing louder, closer. Police cars. 3, 4, 5 of them, screaming into the parking lot. Lights strobing red and blue against the brick facade. Officers poured out, not walking, running. Straight into the school. No hesitation. Teachers huddled, faces grim, telling us nothing but, "Stay calm. Wait here." They let us go early. No buses. Call your parents. My mom picked me up, her knuckles white on the steering wheel. The silence in the car was heavy. At home, over a dinner neither of us ate, she told me. Kids. Older kids. Not from our school. Somehow they'd gotten inside. A lot of them. Miss Bell had seen something. Something in that bulging backpack. Tools, my mom whispered. Not for fixing things. Plan. Bad plan. The fire drill. Desperate flush. Get everyone out before what could start. The police found them inside, scattered, confused by the sudden evacuation. But the part that turned my blood to slush, The part that still wakes me up sometimes. They think Sven let them in, Mom said, her voice hushed. During recess. The fence. They think he'd been talking to them. For a while. I saw it then, crystal clear. Sven at the fence day after day. Not talking to shadows. Talking to them. His fingers curled through the chain links, passing notes, whispering times, pointing out weak spots. Silent sentry. Trader in cargo shorts. The worm slicer orchestrating something far darker. I never saw Sven again. They pulled him out that day, quietly, like they'd pulled out those older kids. No assembly. No explanation beyond hushed parental warnings. The fence still stands. I drove past it years later after college. Just chain link and woods. Ordinary. But I swear, standing there in my car, staring at that spot where he always stood, the air felt colder. The shadows between the trees looked deeper, like they were watching back. Some doors shouldn't be opened. Some fences shouldn't be bridges. Sven knew who was on the other side. I just pray they forgot about the rest of us when they took him away.